Water. Earth. Fire. Air. On Monday, February 21st, 2005, Avatar: The Last Airbender premiered in the 8 p.m. time slot on Nickelodeon. The show became an instant classic, gathering fans of every age, gender, and anything else that you can think of. One of these fans, a 12-year-old girl known as Kara, or Kara of Water on the internet, wrote fanfiction, created admittedly bad fan art, and collected every piece of merchandise she could find. 10 years have passed, and Avatar has expanded to comic books, a sequel series called The Legend of Korra, and even a live-action movie, which we don't talk about, for fairly obvious reasons. Some of the fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender outgrew the fan base, while others continue to watch the series to this day. Kara is in the latter group, and Kara is me. Thank you, Michael Dante DiMartino, Brian Konietzko, and all of the cast and crew who worked so hard on Avatar: The Last Airbender. You gave the world such an amazing series.
Hello everybody, this is One Jenny Fan, and I just want to say sincerely to all of you, happy 10-year anniversary for Avatar: The Last Airbender. I cannot believe the show is 10 years old. I started watching it, just a little bit of my own personal backstory with the show. I started watching it when I was 12, I was Aang's age, and that was 10 years ago. I am now 22. I watched the first episode. I kind of heard about it online because I was a big fan of other Nickelodeon shows at the time, Teenage Robot. So I was already on their website a lot, and then I saw this kid with an arrow on his head, and I'm like, okay, Avatar? Isn't that like something that you use on a message board? Like, I was very confused, but it looked intriguing, so I checked out the show, and I really liked it, and so I just kept watching, and every time they showed a promo for an episode that really caught my eye, I just decided to go ahead and watch it live. And then around the end of book 1, like, I want to say around the Deserter, that was when I really got hooked. Like, that was when I started telling people, so, do you watch the show? And if not, you need to watch it. For those of you that know me, you know I'm one of these people. I just can't believe it's been 10 years. So today, in honor of the Avatar series turning 10, I thought I would do two things. One, I wanted to do a countdown of all of my favorite Avatar episodes from the very worst to the very best, but there were two things wrong with that. One, Viacom is very all up in YouTube's business, so if there were like any clips with Avatar in it at all, there is a good chance it would get immediately taken down, so I did not want to risk that. And two, there are so many good episodes that I'm constantly changing my mind, so what I'm probably going to do is make a post on Tumblr and Facebook. I'll probably post a link to the Tumblr post, and it'll have a read more link so I can change it if I ever want to, but it will be, as of right now, my top 61 Avatar episodes. But in addition to that, I wanted to make something special for this video. So, I thought I would kind of start a little Avatar: The Last Airbender survey, I guess. Just talking about my favorite and least favorite aspects of the show. And then I want you guys to pass this around. I want you to pass it to any other fans you know, whether they're on Facebook, Tumblr, or if you just know them from somewhere else and just want to give them the link to this video, because I want to hear everybody's opinions. I want to hear a whole bunch of different fans coming on and talking about this. You can either write in the comments, you can make a video response, you can do something else and send it to me, and maybe I'll share it out if you would like. But yeah, I just really want to express my love for this show. And I'm going to have my Appa and Naga here helping me out. So, without further ado, let's get going. My favorite element, for those of you that know me, I like to ask the question, what kind of bender would you be if you were in the Avatar universe? So I've obviously thought of this myself. I personally love waterbenders. With my personality, I would probably honestly be an airbender, but I just love waterbenders because just the water element on Avatar is so versatile. You can make it a solid, liquid, or gas. You can use it for healing, for like life. You can use it for bloodbending, which ultimately causes death. It's a whole spectrum of things that you can do with waterbending, and I just find that that's incredible. My least favorite element, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of earthbending, to be completely honest. I mean, there's definitely, it's one of those things where I don't hate any of the elements, but I just have a specific order in which I like them, and earthbending is probably what I like the least. I would say my favorite elements, I say, would go water, fire, air, earth. So, not exactly the Avatar cycle order, but hey, that's my opinion. Post yours, because I want to hear it. My favorite technique or bending form in the Avatar universe would definitely have to be healing. It was something that I never saw coming. And like I said, the Deserter episode kind of got me hooked. So I wouldn't be surprised if healing was one of those reasons. I don't know. I just love the idea of, oh, you're hurt, oh, heal yourself, you're back up, you're ready to fight. And like, if you ever play an RPG or anything, any kind of like fighting game or anything, anytime a character heals himself, it's aggravating. So isn't it great when you're the healer? I mean, come on. Yeah, my least favorite, I've thought about this a while. I probably would have to say lava bending. It's technically in Legend of Korra. I'm trying to stay as pure to the Avatar series as possible, but it's just something that I've never understood because I always thought that it would be a firebending technique. And I guess they wanted to make more expansions on earthbending, and I guess I can understand scientifically how it would be earth, but I still just get really confused by it. If we're talking strictly Avatar universe, or the Last Airbender universe, maybe sandbending? Never was really a fan of sandbending. I like making quicksand, but actual sandbending is not something I was as interested in. My favorite character, oh boy. This is definitely a hard question because I am constantly switching between 4 characters. So I guess I should kind of tell you my history behind my 4 favorite characters. When I first started watching the show when I was 12, my immediate favorites were Aang and Katara. I was not a big fan of Sokka at the time, and I was not a big fan of Zuko. When season 2 came along, I started really liking Toph, and then season 3 was when I started liking Sokka. So I kind of want to talk about a little bit of all of them, because they're constantly switching around in my ranking. Maybe I'll do a video of, it would have to be like top 10 Avatar characters or something, because I'm already giving you 4 of my top 5. So, but I guess from my least of my favorite characters to my top favorite character, I guess I'll kind of explain why I like all of them. I guess since Sokka was the one that I started really liking later in the game, or later in the show, I guess he would probably be my least favorite out of the 4 overall, but there's still times when I just absolutely love him and he's on my top. But I just, like, so many people think he's a stupid character. I used to think he's a stupid character, but honestly, he's just the character that gets a lot of stuff thrown at him, and he's a very unlucky person. But he's really smart. He's a very good leader, and he just has such these creative ideas. Kind of like if mind bending was a thing, Sokka would be the master at it, because like that's his tool. Like, his mind is almost as strong as his boomerang, which is really saying something. I just love the guy, and the older I got, the even more I liked him. So there you go, I guess. My third favorite would probably be Toph. And there are a lot of times that she is actually on the top of my list because just of one thing that, like, when I watch the series back, I just freaking love about her is that she has a disability, but not only does she not let the disability get the better of her, she uses it to her advantage, and I love that. A lot of people that know me, if you know me, know that I'm a disability advocate. I actually am autistic. And I just love the thought of disabilities aren't always a bad thing. Let's be honest, metal bending would not exist if it weren't for Toph, and metal bending would not exist if Toph was not blind. So, because the entire reason she found the impurities in the earth was because she learned that because she was blind, and that was her way of seeing, and all that. I mean, maybe in some vast universe there would be some other way somebody found metal bending, but come on, the way it was done was just awesome. And I just love that she's this short, tiny girl that packs such attitude. I love it. In a way, it kind of reminds me of myself. I wish I kind of had the attitude that Toph does, because she's just fantastic. I feel like sometimes I'm like her, but not always. But I definitely can deal with the short factor. I am short. But yeah, I know I keep saying I just love this character, I just love that character, but I do! The characters in the show are so great! And then my top two, these are the ones that are, like, most of the time are on the top of my list. Ultimately, I would say, if I had to pick one, I would say Aang would probably be my second favorite, and Katara would be my first. But Aang is just such a sweetheart. I related to him so much as a kid, because all he wants to do is just have fun. He's not into the whole responsibility of being the Avatar. He just wants to have fun. He wants to end things peacefully. He's never the kind of character that wants to, that brings up a fight or wants to start a fight. He's always the one that's like, okay, let's just end this peacefully. And I love that that's coming from a male character as well, because we hardly ever see that in male characters, especially in action shows, because they're always the ones that are like, yeah, we gotta fight, we gotta fight. Sokka's kind of like that. And in a way, Toph's kind of like that. Well, she definitely is. So I love how Aang's kind of the mediator. It changes up the formula a bit, and it makes sense because he's a monk. And just the fact that he's this all-powerful being in this one little 12-year-old boy, and he's just great. I would say the ultimate reason that Katara would be my number one would be because she's the kind of person that I've always inspired to be. She's just a fantastic role model. Mae Whitman, her voice actress, even said that herself. She's a great role model for girls, and I definitely agree with that. And she's probably part of the reason water's my favorite element, to be completely honest. And she has such a determination, yet such a compassion for all of her friends. And I know there's just some people that just do not like her. And I know it's a matter of preference, but I love the girl. And she's definitely not perfect. I love that they show that she's not perfect. She's stealing waterbending scrolls. She does have a bit of a temper. I feel like she can be a bit of a perfectionist at times. She definitely has some squabbles with the rest of the cast, but she holds grudges. She definitely holds grudges, very much like myself, I feel. But maybe not. Anyway, but like, I just need to make a list of all the reasons why I like these characters. But anyway, I guess I should go on to my least favorite character. And for those of you that know me, this is not going to be a surprise at all, but if you're looking at me, you probably would not expect this to come out of me. But my least favorite character has got to be Zuko. I never really liked the guy. I will admit, though, rewatching the series, I have grown a whole newfound respect for him. He is a great, well-written character. It's just not a character I like that much, because I've never been a fan of the real angsty types. So that's why I wasn't a fan of him, but he's a very well-written character. In a way, he could almost be the protagonist, because I feel like he changes even more than Aang does. And the protagonist is technically whoever has the biggest arc throughout a story, so in a way, Zuko's kind of the protagonist. Would that make Aang the antagonist? at least for the first 2 seasons. I don't know. But yeah, I've never been much of a Zuko fan. Hate me. I used to absolutely hate him. Like, when I was first watching the show, I hated him. I did not want him to go over to the good side. I did not think it was reasonable. But the way that they wrote it, and I want to write this in my top 61 episodes, so I don't want to go into too much detail about it, but I love that they kind of showed, oh, this is what could have happened if he did choose the Fire Nation side. But then he ends up switching. I would say the character I'm most like is probably Ty Lee. I did do back when they were a big thing on LiveJournal, those stamping communities. You basically fill out a survey, other people read it, and they decide what character you're most like. When I was there, I got the Earth King, which I guess I can also kind of see because I act kind of young for my age, and the Earth King definitely does that, and he's kind of naive. But I feel like I'm a lot like Ty Lee, just because we're both very spunky. You can probably tell by the video. Her aura has never been bigger. I feel like is a quote that I could relate to myself. She's a performer, like myself. She performs in a circus, though I am definitely not an acrobat. And then I would say I'm also like Aang. Like I said, with my favorite characters, I could relate to him a lot when I was younger. He just likes to have fun. I like to get out of responsibilities whenever I can and have fun. Just watch Avatar all day. I'd love to do that. Yeah, I actually have been doing that this weekend, but can't do that every weekend, unfortunately, but doing it for the 10 years. Yeah, so I guess if I'm most like Ty Lee, then I would be least like May, because she's kind of, blank, I guess, and I'm not very blank. I don't want to say blah, because I don't think she's blah, because she's an interesting character. She just does not show a lot of emotion, and that is completely unlike me. Anybody that knows me, I feel, knows that I have one OTP in this series, and it is Katang. I think everybody that knows me, for the most part, knows that. Yeah, and then my least favorite would be Zutara, probably because of that. I just really like the idea of Aang and Katara together. I think they work really well together. I think they're a good team. I think they do a really good job of balancing each other out. And I guess I could talk about this a little bit, because I've noticed this since I'm also in the Glee fandom. Yeah, I know. Don't hate me. But my OTP from that show, Kurt and Blaine, actually remind me a lot of Aang and Katara, because they kind of have the kind of one person takes the other kind of under their wing, kind of a like either a mentorly figure in Glee or a motherly figure in Avatar, and then they become best friends super fast, and then it kind of just grows from there into a romantic relationship. Luckily, Katang has not had to go through all the crazy BS that Blaine has had to go through from Glee. But yeah, I just like, and I like the progression of just the story of the two of them in the show. And I really like, one of the things that I really like about shipping in the Avatar universe especially, and I guess I feel this way about shipping in games and other action shows too, is in my opinion, my favorite shipping moments tend to be ones where they're not even like big like romantic episodes. Like, I mean, I like the fortune teller and the headband and the Cave of Two Lovers, but I really like the ones where they're like in the heat of battle and they have to do something for that other person. Those are the things that I like the most. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I'm planning on putting it in my top 61 episodes. So yeah. And in case you're curious, I also kind of pair Sokka with pretty much everyone. But my favorite Sokka ship would probably be Sokka and Toph, followed by Sokka and Suki, and then Sokka and Yue. But I really like all of them. It's kind of like how I am with Legend of Korra. I like Makora and I like Korrasami, so... But it was weird, because the ending gave me fulfillment, but it also left me hurt inside. horribleness sometimes of being a multi-shipper. Yeah, the reason I don't really like Zutara is not even necessarily because it conflicts with Katang, even though that's probably how I was back in the day. I was probably more anti-Zutara than I was pro-Katang. I was really against it. But, I just never really, like, I understand how intriguing it would be. Like, the two elements that are completely different, and they kind of mesh together. We kind of got some of that in Korra, but here's the thing. Like, they hardly ever talked, and they were on opposing sides, and it just did not make sense for me that they would become a couple. Could they have written it that way? I think they could have, and they could have written it in a way that made sense, but with the storyline progressing the way it was, it just didn't feel like it would work for me. But yeah, it is very intriguing. Actually, there was this fan art on Tumblr, I don't remember who made it, but it was Katara and Zuko kind of looking at each other while they're going through their separate lives with Aang and Mei, respectively. I said Katara and then Zuko first, right? I think I did, but you know what I mean. And then there's a fic that I think Amira Elizabeth wrote, who's also a Katanger, but it's kind of the point of Zuko's point of view, kind of looking over Katang through Zuko's eyes, and it's really, I mean, it is interesting, but I like the way that the show ran with Katang. That's just my personal preference. I do not ship it like I used to. Oh, Lord. But, yeah, I would say my favorite ship is Katang, and my least favorite ship is Zutara. My main reasoning being, the first time they talked to Katara, I told him to go jump in a river. So, and I love that she kept his grudge against him, just by the way. Because, I mean, he is an interesting character, and I've said that, well-written character, but he did screw her over in season 2. I'm glad that she kept that grudge and didn't trust him right away. But I do like that she eventually did trust him, but it took a lot. It took a lot, and I like that. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on shipping. Okay, my favorite animal. I would say I was kind of torn between 2. And then 3, if we're counting Korra, because I also like fire ferrets. But I do not believe they were in the original series. Like I said, I'm watching the whole thing again this weekend because, yay. But yeah, I would say my favorite animal would be the dragons, especially when they came back in book 3 and we didn't know they even still existed. And then I also really adore koala otters because they're just adorable. I guess my least favorite animal is, this is gonna seem like kind of a cop-out, but I mean, I know there's only so much that you could flesh out in the Avatar universe, but I really did not like when an animal or like something else was not given a name and we had to just like come up with a name for it. It made it really hard. Like when I was in college, I did 2 different panels on Avatar at the convention that my school held, and it was so hard for me to talk about certain locations and animals because they didn't have names. So I had to just kind of go with, this is what they said on Avatar Wiki. This is what they came up with. So yeah, that is my opinions on the animals. Okay, my favorite food in the Avatar universe, or the one I would most like to eat, I guess. I would say I love the stuff in the Air Nation, the Air Nomad cuisine. Like, I like all the fruit pies and tarts, and oh, they just sound delicious. Even the egg custard tart. That would probably be my favorite, actually. The egg custard tart. Just, you know I love anything sweet, if you know me. Heck, even while I was looking through the Avatar Wiki just to solidify my favorites for this video, just anything sweet. Like, they had ice cream in an episode, Genomite, the rock candy, just anything sweet, I swear. So then on the opposite note, I guess my least favorite food would be anything spicy, particularly flaming fire flakes, because if they basically burned Sokka's mouth, I do not want to know what they would do to mine. So yeah, flaming fire flakes would be my least favorite food. Well, ultimately, my favorite game in the Avatar universe is pro bending. But since this isn't a Korra survey, this is an Avatar survey, I'm gonna go ahead and go with Earth Rumble 6. Because when you think about it, when you watch like episodes with pro bending and then stuff like the Blind Bandit, like one after another, they're pretty similar. They're almost the exact same thing, except pro bending just has more elements to it. But I just like the kind of, it's like the Quidditch of the Avatar world. Really both of those, Earth Rumble 6 included. And I would just love to I'd love to see those kind of things in real life, and I've said that before. My least favorite game, or I guess recreational activity, would probably be painting, just because I have never been much of an artist. My favorite location would be the Northern Water Tribe. Specifically the location. I'm not necessarily talking about the people in it. That is going to come in another category. But I just love the scenery of the Northern Water Tribe. Just, oh, the gorgeous buildings and everything that they can make out of snow. It's just beautiful. And I've already said water's my favorite element, so it's kind of natural that my favorite location would be one of the water tribes. And this is kind of a cop-out, again, but I would say any, like, unnamed city or any city that we were only in for, like, an episode would probably be my least favorite. Like I know they want to show as much of the world as possible, and I know there's so little time to do that, but it just kills me. Or it kills me if a location is insignificant enough that it does have a name and I just don't remember it. Just because they didn't spend that much time there or whatever. And I don't know. I've just never been a fan of things like that. My favorite organization, I would say, and I guess this kind of goes back to the games recreational, I really like theater. So I would say my group, like if I was part of a group, I would say it would probably be, or I would like to be in, the Ember Island Players. Their productions were probably horrible, but I mean, who knows? Maybe they had a good show every once in a while. I also really like the Kyoshi Warriors because girl power. I would say, and this is kind of going back to the locations, my least favorite organization I would say would be the people that run the Northern Water Tribe. Especially in Avatar, not so much in Korra, because they're a bunch of sexist jerks. Yeah, council, I guess. The council, just them marrying off their women, not letting the women bend in any participation other than healing. It's just, it makes my feminist mind... Northern Water Tribe, what am I going to do with you? Ugh. My favorite spirit would have to be the Avatar spirit. And I really like how in The Legend of Korra, it kind of got its own personality as Rava, but I especially loved it in the original series too, because it just gave this one person just so much immense strength and power. And in a way, it kind of already had a personality in Avatar: The Last Airbender, because it had the personality of every single Avatar before it. So yeah, I've always found it the most interesting spirit, to me. And for my least favorite spirit, this is the last time I'm gonna use this cop-out, but just any of the spirits that are just kind of there and don't really have a name. Like, there's the one spirit in, the end of book 1 that the monkey spirit is like, there's that thing, chase it. I don't even remember that thing being given a name. I haven't watched that episode yet though, so maybe it did get a name. Yes. My favorite vehicle has got to be the glider, because it lets you fly. I mean, come on. Like, I would say one of my favorite, like, superpowers if you could pick a superpower, is being able to fly, with the other one obviously being any sort of elemental manipulation, because then you get to be a bender or the frickin' Avatar. But after that, I would probably say the power of flight. Would that be useful in any way? Probably not, but I would still love to have it because it's awesome. And the glider basically lets you do that, so that's cool. For my least favorite vehicle, I'd probably say really anything that we either have or is similar to what we have in the real world. Because that's the one thing, I mean, I like how Avatar has that connection to the real world, but at the same time, I like the extreme differences of it. Like, I can understand why you would need stuff like ships and like tanks and stuff like that. Sotomobiles, when it comes to Korra, I actually like the Sotomobile, but yeah, I just never found those as interesting. My favorite weapon would have to be, it took me a while actually to think about this one, but ultimately I'm going to say Sokka's space sword, or meteor sword, or Jian, if that's how you pronounce it, or anything else you want to call it, but you know the one I'm talking about, the one he crafted in Sokka's Master, because I just like it a little more than the boomerang, because it's something that he made himself, and it has his own sense, it has his own bit of creativity in it. Actually, Blue Tunes, I think I've mentioned him before. For those of you that know Blue Tunes, he made a fantastic video on the top 10 swords in cartoons, and Sokka's sword is one of them. Hopefully I'll remember to post a link somewhere. If nothing else, just a link to his page, because it's great. But he has a fantastic explanation for why his sword is awesome, so I definitely recommend checking that out. As for, oh, I also like the Kyoshi fan. I like the weapons that kind of work in a way that you wouldn't really expect. Like, you don't think a fan would be something that would be that useful or that deadly, but it really can be. So I guess for my least favorite weapons, I'm not a big fan really of the bigger weapons, like the axes or hammers. I kind of like, which is kind of weird, because I like giant swords, but I don't know. I guess I like the creativity that you have to put in using a weapon like a fan or a boomerang or even a sword, depending on what the sword is. So yeah, that's my choice for weapon. Rank the books in order, from your favorite to your least favorite. I have a feeling everybody is probably going to agree with me on this one, but for the original Avatar, I would say book 3, book 2, book 1. Which is definitely a good thing, because it says that the series has improved over time, and that's such a big deal. Like, the first season was great, but the second season was even better than that, third season was better than that. That's why I love this show so much. Was just the level of improvement, and I think Korra showed that too, with maybe the exception of season 2, because I didn't really care for all the relationship drama, but nobody really did. So not exactly sure how I would rank the Korra books in there. Like I said before, this is more of an Avatar survey, so I'm not gonna rank them, but I might do it later. I'd have to rewatch all of them to see, but 2 would probably be the bottom. Actually, I could probably do it right now. Like, because part of me wants to pick 1, but part of me also wants to pick 3 as my favorite. I don't know. And then mixing them in with the Avatar seasons, it's hard to choose. My favorite episode I'm gonna be a little bit different about, because I'm posting a top 61 episodes. I told you guys that already on Facebook and Tumblr. So I'm not gonna get too specific, because they also change a bunch, but my favorite and my least favorite have been the same over the past several years or so I don't think those are changing anytime soon. But my number 1, or I guess I should say my top 4, would be Sozin's Comet. So it was just such a great ending. I don't think it was a perfect ending, which is why I'm doing the top 61, because I have a certain order in which I rank all 4 parts. but like together, I thought it was a fantastic way to end the series. It definitely ended that series off with a bang, and it's the kind of ending that the series needed. Just with Aang not wanting to kill the Fire Lord, I thought that was very much in character for him. And just every battle that everybody was waiting for, the Aang Cut between Zuko and Azula, Katara gets her final match, Sokka, Toph, and Suki going on their adventure with the airships, and then Aang against Ozai, obviously. It's just great. It's just what everybody was waiting for, and it ended on a perfect note. Plus, there was some Katang, and I appreciated that. My least favorite, which is probably everybody's least favorite, is The Great Divide, because, come on, let's be honest, that episode was kind of blah. And it wasn't, I don't think it was bad, it was just really blah. For Avatar, that means that is a bad episode for Avatar quality or Avatar standards. I actually find it kind of funny because, for those of you that know Nostalgia Critic, and I've mentioned him a lot in my top 61 because he made a top 10 best, or top 11 best and top 11 worst episodes of Avatar, but spoiler alert, we actually have the exact same picks for our favorite and our least favorite, so I definitely found that interesting. But if you want more information on exactly how I rank my episodes, check out Tumblr and Facebook. Do it. Alright, so that is this Avatar The Last Airbender survey that I decided to make. I hope a lot of you guys share it. Either just type your answers or make a video or just post it on Tumblr, Facebook, Twitter, however you want to respond. I just like to get people's opinions because we might have so many different opinions on the Avatar universe, but ultimately we're all one fandom, and it just wows me that we have been a fandom for so long. And 10 years. 10 years! So yes, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend and happy 10-year anniversary. And Mike and Brian, again, along with the entire cast and crew, thank you for making such an amazing series that I hope will be cherished for, like a theme in Avatar, is generations upon generations. Thank you.